It gives me great pleasure to welcome on stage in Nigeria for the very first time the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai. Welcome, Sundar, to Lagos.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
And to host this fireside chat, I'd like to invite an award-winning journalist and top media personality, Adeswa Onyenokwe.
Is it okay if I give you a hug?
Oh, yeah.
It looks just like my young son. You know? He's so young and personable, and like, I asked him as I met him 5 minutes ago. I like it that way, you know, that why are you just wearing a shirt and pair of jeans, no jacket? You know, but that's the kind of person that he is, you know. And I hope you don't mind that I have my telephone.
Oh, no problem at all.
Because I've done a couple of questions that I thought I should ask you about.
Yeah.
Your team had told me about the great things that you're going to do here, and I'm like, is he really coming? Did you have second thoughts about coming here?
No.
I just wonder, but it's nice to have you. So, besides the fact that one of the most Google things about you is what people in Google think about you.
Ah.
I mean, and I'm surprised, but everybody
And what
says,
did it say?
They say you're warm, you're nice, you're approachable. I mean, can you guys attest to that? And I'm like, you know, in the 5 minutes we've been together, I can attest to that. Because, I mean, we've already talked about Chennai, we've talked about your brother, we've talked about your kids in 5 minutes. You guys got to give it up for this guy.
Well, thank you.
Especially because, I mean, but like I said, don't mind if I want to go straight. Did you have jollof rice yet? Did you have jollof rice yet?
No.
No time?
No.
You only came in last night?
Yeah, maybe I'll try it later today.
That's good. But you see, I want to thank you for coming because I don't think you really had to come. Google is doing okay here. Isn't Google doing okay here?
It is, but, you know, I think it's very, very exciting time here. So, you know, I always feel we have to come to places like this to kind of learn how things will evolve for the next 10 to 20 years. So, you know, a place like Africa, people do everything on mobile, and, you know, it's just a different way they use products than what we are used to. So I want to learn too. So
as much as possible.
Yeah.
Now, you've been with Google 13 years,
Yeah.
2 years as the CEO.
Yeah.
And I wonder how you would trace the growth of technology from your days in India, back in Chennai, and up until today, right here in Nigeria.
You know, it's, I was telling someone here, there are times when I kind of see something outside for a second, it reminds me of India too. And, you know, for me growing up, you know, technology, you know, was not something I had much in my life. You know, every single thing we got, you know, I vividly remember getting it in my home. You know, when we first got our, you know, like refrigerator in the home, and like, we had been waiting for it for a long time, and you know, once we got it, I realized my mom would make stuff and we could save it for the next day, and she had a little bit more free time. You know, all that I remember very, very distinctly. The first time we got a phone in my home, you know, before that, you know, simple things.
What was that first phone? Was it
like a dial-up phone? You know, I was 12 when we got it. You know, but I remember before that, like, you know, my mom would say, go to the hospital to get something, and, you know, it would take me 2 hours to go to the hospital, and they would say, well, it's not ready, come back tomorrow. But once we got the phone, I could call and ask, and they would say, no, it's not ready yet. It would literally save me 4 hours. So, you know, so I remember all these things very discreetly, and which is why, like, you know, even today, I think getting technology in the hands of people who haven't had it before, it's a big change in their lives. So, you know, that's I'm very
I suppose
excited.
that's what excites you about Google. I mean, I'm just wondering how things have changed during your time with Google, given this kind of experience that you have.
You know, I mean, at Google, you know, one of the things which always struck me about Google is everything we do in Google, we want to try and make it work for everyone in the world. So, if tomorrow you have access to connectivity, you know, the Google you get is the same thing which, I don't know, professor at Harvard or Stanford gets. will be no different for a child growing up in Lagos here. So for me, that's always been true about Google, trying to reach everyone with information.
As much as possible.
We are able to do that better and better, and I'm excited to be able to do that here as well.
It's nice to know you want to do products that are relevant, at least especially for Nigerians. This time you're coming to Africa, you're focusing on Nigeria. But also, I would like you to speak about the challenges in enabling people to flourish in this digital economy. What else do you think Google can do? We've heard great things you've announced to us today, but I get the sense that there could be more.
Yeah. I think one of the things, coming to Nigeria, I'm struck by, the energy, the enthusiasm of people here, the happiness. I think you have people is the most fundamental resource a country has. And so for me, it's about how do you make the transition to a digital economy. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we've been doing around the world, including in Africa, is what we call as digital skills training. By that we mean taking people who are doing small things, small businesses, maybe even a side hustle in a place like Nigeria. How do you figure out, how do you leverage a digital platform to reach more people, to grow your business? We've done this in Africa now. We have trained 1 million people. It's been working well. So I'm pretty excited. We are committing to train 10 million people over the next 5 years in Africa. So, and this is a formal training program. We get people in. We can do it online, in locations, and train them basic skills. So for example, the team was talking to me about a tailor, Eniola, just having a small tailor shop, but learning how to put your shop on Google Maps, others can find you, and then more people come to your business. So we want to try and teach people to do that. And
obviously, this is just along the line because Google is known for innovation, obviously. And this is a great innovation, it's a great commitment, it's big actually. But given the scale of challenges that we face, 10 million is big, people, right?
Yeah.
But is it enough? Is Google going to do more?
No such thing, for the scale of to truly impact Africa and Nigeria, scale has to be much bigger. But, we want to do a small part, but anything digital, it's kind of a platform, it enables. So, we can start doing this and others will do it too. So for, another thing we are doing is, helping people learn how to write software. To truly solve things in Nigeria, I think people here have to write things for the local economy. And so we...
Making it local. They're applauding you. You already have a big market of people ready to learn how to write the software. So you're going to give the support, you're saying?
Yeah. So, we have, as an extension of the digital training program, we have a program to also train 100,000 software developers, and so in Nigeria. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Well, that's good. So what I hear you say is that you're going to train these people to have vital coding skills. So they're going to be entrepreneurs, but they're going to be startups. And startups have this hiccupy problem of not surviving. Does Google have a plan to ensure that these startups, when they begin, they don't die early?
That's a good question. In other parts, we have done things to help startups as well. Mm-hmm. Silicon Valley is known for startups, but if you look at the ecosystem that exists to make startups successful, that's developed over many, many years. So we are trying to take some of that and replicate it in other places. Wow. So we've had this program globally called the Launchpad Accelerators, where we give funding, but we give equity-free funding. But more importantly, we connect startups to mentors, bring them resources from within Google, from our ecosystem to help them do better. And so I'm excited. We are launching the Launchpad Accelerator program for Africa.
Wow.
And we are starting in Lagos, and we are going to give...
Wow. So we're going to have a Launchpad space right here in Lagos, guys.
That's right. And we're going to commit, $3 million in equity-free funding to startups over the next 3 years. And, I think
is this the first outside of Is this the first anywhere, as I'm wondering?
We've done the Launchpad Accelerator globally, but it's the first in Africa, and you know, and so
I must applaud.
excited to do that here. You know, I'm very convinced that there will be developers here and entrepreneurs here who will come up with new things which we just can't think globally, and I'm so excited to set up the foundation for that.
Yeah. I'm excited. I can't wait for that to happen. There are a lot of young people who are out of jobs, who are very talented. It's good to know they don't have to leave Nigeria to acquire those skills. But then again, for anybody looking at an economy like ours, one area that's very important is education. You had a very good education, starting from India all the way to Stanford, to Wharton, and then you ended up, you know, you've done some consulting. I'm wondering if that's not why you're so friendly. But however, that's for another thing. I'm wondering though that given still the fact that education is not at the best here, is there any chance that Google might also take that on? Oliver, I am.
You know, one of the things we have done historically, you know, today across the world, you know, there are close to, I mean, there are over 75 million students who use, you know, products like Gmail, Google Docs, you know, and we provide things like Chromebooks and tablets around the world. So, you know, we take education very seriously. A lot of our products we provide for free to schools around the world. But one of the things here, I think, you know, for places like Africa, I think you know, there have to be newer models of how you do education at scale, and you know, you have to think about how to do it differently. So Google.org, which is our philanthropic arm, our nonprofit part of Google, you know, has been looking at how to do this in Africa, and you know, they've started out by supporting, you know, two nonprofit organizations. We have donated you know, our first funds are $2.5 million, and these are the nonprofit arms of Giddy, and there's an organization in South Africa, Siwala, and they're all e-learning programs. So how do you create educational materials to learn, for people to learn from your phone? And they're doing amazing things, and so we are funding organizations like that. And overall, Google.org is committing to giving grants of $20 million over the next 5 years to nonprofits in Africa.
Oh, nonprofits sounds like a good idea, but as you know, we're a little bit, you know, skeptical about not-for-profits. You're giving money, that sounds good. You want to increase education, make sure people with low income have better access. I believe that's what you're trying to do. But is there any way you're going to monitor and determine the not-for-profits you're going to work with? How are you going to ensure that the funds that you do send in are used for what they should be used for?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And you know, for the nonprofits, we are giving money to, these are very entrepreneurial companies. I mean, they just don't, you know, so for example, they really push people to, you know, they have courses online, they give incentives for people to learn. If you learn, you can get further educational loans and so on. But one of the things we are also doing is, we've done this in other places, but Google.org is also announcing the Africa Impact Challenge. So effectively, we ask nonprofits from around Africa to nominate the best ideas, and we allow people locally to vote for what we think is the best idea. And so we are rolling that out, and as part of that, you know, locally, the local experts come up with what is the best idea by which we can give money as well. So we are going to do it that way, and I'm excited about that.
So you're saying we can decide which NGO gets the funding?
That's right.
Because we can now go vote for whoever has the highest impact and things like that.
That's right. So the NGOs can nominate themselves, and people here get to vote and choose where the funding goes through. So we call this the Impact Challenge, and so I'm pretty excited about that as well.
Sounds good to me, but are you going to do that? Are they going to be voting by likes or serious voting? You know, people can buy likes around here.
No, it's going to be serious voting. So.
Okay, I know that, I mean, it'd be nice to spend all the time talking to you, but I don't want to monopolize it. By the way, he chose not to deliver a speech. That's why we're doing this, and I find that quite interesting, you know. But before I ask why you did that, I believe that you're a visionary leader, because I mean, you were one of those that led the Android change, you know, with Google, and you've done so well, and you're now head at Google for 2 years. I wonder what the future holds for Google with you at the head. What's your vision?
A lot of us in Google are working on, when we think about bringing information to people, we are in very, very early days, but we are working a lot on what we call as, machine learning and artificial intelligence, really using deep computer science to do what we do better. So just think about the power. In Nigeria soon you're going to have 100 million people with access to mobile. In a few years from now, people who have access to a phone and connectivity will have more knowledge in their hands than any other time in the history of humankind. And I think that is a very, very powerful thing. And I think it's going to be a big, big enabler for people in Nigeria. And we want to be a part of that journey. And we think it's a core part of our mission to do that. And so that's what I'm looking forward to doing.
So building for everyone, bottom line is your desire. Because I think the first thing you've done today, we've got an announcement today that pretty soon we're going to have a phone worth 13,000 naira in our hands.
Yeah, the eyes too. I'm looking forward to trying out one of these phones. It's real, I saw the announcement. It sounds really good.
So now, to what your experience in Nigeria has been like?
Yeah,
just one night. It's not enough, but I mean.
No, I'm going to spend more time later today and meeting more people. But meeting our local teams. They're all local Nigerians, and as Juliet likes to say, small but mighty. And people here are happy and enthusiastic. The energy here is off the charts. So I'm getting used to it. I'm enjoying it. But I think SAYS, the potential for the country is huge. I think people are an incredible resource. I've seen this in India, and I just think the future is bright.
What would you like to leave Nigerians with? What word? I'll teach you. We are in Lagos. Here in Lagos, it's Yoruba. Yoruba is the most spoken language. So when you're leaving, you say Odabo.
Odabo?
Odabo. Odabo. Give it a try.
Odabo? Ah.
So that's him speaking Yoruba. So before you say Odabo, what do you want them to remember you for? You've come here, it's your first visit. I want to believe it's not going to be the last.
Yeah, no.
What do you want them to take away?
Look, I think it's important to understand, there's a lot of challenges to work through as Nigeria makes the transition to a digital economy. But it's already contributing about, the IT sector is contributing about 10% to your GDP. And it is the future. And I think, from a Google standpoint, we are committed. We are going to be here for many, many years. And so this is not a one trip. We are doing something today. So we are here. We are committed. And but this is your journey, and I think it's the journey of people of Nigeria we are here to support, and I am incredibly optimistic.
I want to thank you for this few minutes, and if you rise, we will just say, Odabo.
Odabo, right?
So